Hi everyone. My name is Vinicius Mabellini. I am from Atma IT Solutions, representing my company here today. First of all, I'd like to thank my two friends of Atma, Gustavo and Fernando, for giving me the opportunity to be here today, meeting New York City. It's a very good experience until now. I want to talk about our B2B solution and all the problems that we have on all the areas we are working with nopCommerce and trying to adapt it for working with B2B platforms, and also the solutions that we achieved. And I believe some of the solutions that we ended up doing could be useful not just for us, but for other companies too. So who am I? I'm a professional developer since 2007. I am a nopCommerce certified developer. We have 7 professionals who have the certified developer nopCommerce. And I started to work with e-commerce companies since 2011, mainly .NET companies. I became a software architect on Atma IT Solutions. What I really like is to design new systems, put new ideas in practice. I'm also very interested on cryptocurrencies. And if anyone wants to buy or sell Bitcoins, you could meet me on the end. So, Atma IT Solutions is a Brazilian company. It's a great place to work. We talk all the time there, make bad jokes all day. We have dinner at the lunchtime, good snacks, video games, and fun. Also, we are focused on deliver B2B solutions for distributors and resellers. We use nopCommerce since version 1.8, so we are early adopters of Nope. We began as a startup focused on providing IT solutions for some distributors, and we developed e-commerces, mobile systems, ERP integrations, line of business systems too. But our main product is a B2B platform based on nopCommerce. We have years of experience customizing Nope, modifying it, creating plugins to fit our needs. And inside Atma, we also delivered another company, Big Labs, who makes recommendation systems using big data. So to understand what kind of problems we have, I need to explain a little about our environment. So I think everyone knows something about Brazil. I don't know what kind of picture people from outside have of our country, but probably the beaches, Amazon, Carnival, soccer, Neymar, Pelé. But we are leader on one thing, bureaucracy. Brazil is a completely hell if you want to create a business there. And we are in a very light position for our competitors like Vietnam or South Africa. We make things very difficult there, like paying taxes or start a business. If you want to be an entrepreneur in Brazil, you are playing the very hard level. So, our business scenario. We are in economic crisis since 2012. We have extremely confusing tax rules. It's like almost impossible to calculate taxes on Brazil if you don't have an ERP system behind. Our companies spend lots of monthly hours on accounting. And they usually have constant changes on the ERPs because of the new taxes, new regulations. They always need to be updating their systems. So who are our customers? They are usually distributors of hardware like computers, printers, handhelds, consoles, mobile phones. They doesn't have a modern online platform to do sales, or sometimes they doesn't have any platform at all. The IT team are used to work with older languages and technologies. So things like .NET, ASP.NET Core for they is like completely new. They don't know this kind of stuff. And they need to deal with this kind of bureaucracy daily. So the IT team are usually very focused not on creating new things. They are just focused on trying to do their compliance, to update their ERP, their business rules. And our product, we provide an e-commerce platform to be used by the resellers. So the resellers vendors use the distributor B2B websites to make orders. They can use the platform to purchase products to their own consumption, to be resold later, or directly to the end customer. There's like 3 types of orders that we can make on our B2B platform. Each reseller has a specific profile, and which leads to specific prices, permissions, and payment methods too. And all distributors usually works in a similar way, but sometimes we need to do some customizations on one rule or another. There's a few screenshots of some of our systems. They all use the same base code. We just modify the layout for each customer. And some of our features are: the site is closed for non-logged users. They can see the catalog, they can do searches, but they can see the prices because prices are different for each logged customer. We have different order types. The pricing system, instead of just do different price for each customer, we also have multiple prices. We have some specific business rules who can change the price too. About stock, we have specific warehouses for each product variant. And in that time, we use nopCommerce 3.0, so we didn't have the warehouse feature that was implemented after that. And the user can choose exactly the origin warehouse they are buying to. We have a proposal system who makes users simulate their orders before put it. We have price simulator system, which helps them to simulate if they are making an order for another state and there is a specific price for this too, and they need to sometimes just simulate the order instead of do all the membership registration for their customers. And we have some plugins to shipping plugins, payment, banner, widgets. We have the enhanced search based on nopAccelerate solutions. Thank you, nopAccelerate. So in the beginning, we started with one distributor as a customer. And we create a simple e-commerce for this specific project. So in that time, we learned how to use nopCommerce, how to upgrade it, how to create new plugins, to expand it, and we started making plans. And we create our first B2B platform on top of Nope 3.0. This first customer, they already have a very good web service layer for us to consume. So it's like we have lucky because sometimes our customers doesn't have any kind of platform to do integrations. And this specific customer already have a very good, solid web service layer for us. So we designed the system based on their specific needs. And we isolate the communication layer to the couple modules, so we don't want to mix things of nopCommerce with their own business rules. So we try to separate things and try to maintain the original source code untouched. So how it used to work? We have two-way communication. We have our B2B platform offering some web services for their ERP systems to consume. So if they want to include products, categories, manufacturers, and stocks, they consume our web services. And on the other side, we consume their web services to read the prices, to calculate shipping, retrieve product details, calculate all the commission, all the values of an order, and send the order to. So changes on their services, they have an effect on our integration directly. And we have lots of changes over the project time. So this is the old model that we follow in that time. As you can see, we have our web service in one side. We have our B2B web service exposed for them to consume. And to connect directly to their web services, we created a custom integration library just for this customer. And we connect direct to their web services and plug everything. So after this project was finished, we realized that this solution could be used in other customers too. But okay, how can we do this? Because we already have an integration specific for this customer, and we want to reuse this code. So what we did, we found a new customer, and we tried to separate things. We created another specific library for this other customer, and we tried to create branches for each one, and try to upgrade each platform as according to their needs. So every time we found a new customer, we need our workforce to integrate and do all the hard stuff. We need to understand their platforms. We need to understand their web service layers. Every time we found some new customer, we need to stop and do all the integration again and again. So, the problems that we had with this. Sometimes the customer doesn't have any web service for us to consume. So we need to say, okay, we need a web service to get a price. And they say, okay, we will provide you a web service in a week. Sometimes they took a month to provide web service. And our project becomes a mess because we cannot follow any kind of schedule in this kind of environment. The integrations, they change it all the time, causing unexpected bugs. So sometimes we have one integration working properly, and it bugs. And we need to call them and say, oh, hey, what changed? And they say, oh, we changed something because of something specific here, and need to go and rewrite all the code again. So with this, they have a very long time to go live with the B2B platform. And the RT teams are usually busy dealing with another things like dealing with the bureaucracy, all the stuff that I said before. It's very hard to test because we really don't know, doesn't know how their integration works, what kind of data they have, what kind of process they work. And because of that, we always are in a chaotic state. We couldn't create any kind of schedule and try to follow that because it's very difficult to the communication and depends heavily on them. So our main problem was in that part. We have the bottleneck because every time we find a new customer, we need to create another library and we need to start all the problems again and again and again. So how can we solve it? Our objective was to sell the B2B platform as a product and a service instead of just a project. We want to sell to lots of customers without doing all the integrations again and again and again. We also want to use our time not just to do integrations or trying to understand their specific needs, but trying to improve the platform, trying to create new features, try to do some good stuff. So we imagine a way to avoid that and try to finally reach the point that we wanted to sell this like a product. And our solution, we created a generic integration API. But what is the generic integration API? It's basically a middleware layer between the B2B and the ERP system. What it truly is a set of contracts. It is designed to communicate with any system. The idea is we don't want to understand the integration layer of our customer. We just want to sell them our platform and say, okay, you need to integrate with us following these strict rules. These rules, we created a template designed with ASP.NET Web API 2. It's a simple Web API project. We have simple objects to request and response, just using get and post verbs of HTTP protocol. And we move the responsibility of integration for us to our customer IT area. They can use the template that we provide with ASP.NET Web API if they are used to C#. It's like starting a project with a bootstrap team. But if they are not used with C#, they are using with another language, another technology, they can do it too. They just need to follow our rules strictly as they are. To make some things more secure, use basic token authentication between the two platforms. And our main goal here is to we can offer our team to make the integration as a project if they want. But our main goal is to sell as is, and they just can use their IT team to integrate with our platform. So how you connect the two platforms? It's very easy. The customer just needs to deploy the API in a web address. They need to provide the user and password to connect it to do the authentication. And okay, all things are connected and they are running too. The architecture, it's more simple because that side doesn't change anymore. We have a generic proxy library. This proxy library makes a request to a specific route, HTTP route, and we say, okay, we need the prices for the part number ABC. And they need to answer us with a specific JSON object saying, okay, our price is this, we have these taxes, we have multiple prices, there are these, just following our strict rules. So an example of this is the product detail. When you want to enter on a project detail page and see the prices, they need to answer us that object, and that object has the prices, and the price are reflected directly on our site. We get the prices asynchronously, so we don't have to make a lot of concurrent requests synchronously. We can just retrieve lots of prices simultaneously. And also we have here we have the checkout. Every information that are stacked here, they are being retrieved from the generic API too. So they can get the price, they can put their own prices to make the end customer sell, and they can also retrieve the commission they will receive, our resellers will receive, and the order total too. So how this works? We have inside our nopCommerce solution a library responsible for managing the communication with this generic API layer. All the business rules are there. There are basically a library who uses REST Sharp to make calls for specific routes, and we try to interpret all the requests and responses for their own implementation of generic integration. So we have a specific library who is only filled with DTO objects, like response and request objects. And the same library we share with our generic API template solution. This template solution, we provide all the source code for our customers. They can only download it, understand how it works, and start doing the integration if they want to use C#. If not, they can follow our documentation that are online. Here we have a screenshot of the template. Inside the template, we try to do sample data for them to understand what kind of information we are sending to them and what kind of information we want back. And also we do some examples like if you don't have a specific price and you just respond not found, if you have an error, you can use the HTTP code to say internal server error or something like that. And we also have some sample data to calculate some shipping rules, some prices. So when a customer starts the integration, if they download the template and put on air on some address, they can just plug directly to their B2B solution and see things happening. And they can just enter there, change some values, and start to understand what kind of thing they need to do to give us the real data they need. And also we have the generic template that Web API provides to show some documentation to try to specify which field does what kind of field we have, which one does some functionality, types of shipping, all the values. They can see everything directly on our online documentation. To support them, we also help them to find good workers, because sometimes they have a few people on their customer IT area, and sometimes it's hard for them to just pick up these people and do all the integration. So sometimes we help them recruiting, we do the interviews, we try to find good workers that knows how to handle HTTP requests, how to use Web API, or they have some experience with JSON, web service, things like that. We try to give an open communication between Atma and our customer too, so every time they need something, they have some doubts, they can call us, we try to explain, we try to do some tutorials, try help them with the code too. We try to provide logs to all requests and responses inside of nopCommerce admin. So if you are developing, you can just turn on a checkbox that's debug mode, and you can see everything that we are requesting for your API, and everything that your service is responding. So it's easy for them to find the errors. Sometimes they are missing data. It's very easy for them because we log everything. And we try to keep the documentation up to date. We are using now Sphinx and read the docs. So every time we need we have some modifications, we put on air, and using GitHub, it's very simple, very useful. Besides that, we have some tools and processes that we ended up improving after we provided all the solutions. We started to create some continuous integration on our platform. So we have now TFS for version control, but instead of using a branch for each customer, we are using a unified code now. The only difference that we have inside the code is the layout for each customer that are separated by folders, but we use the same base code for everyone. All changes we pass through a manual code review process to ensure that there is nothing wrong going up. We use Trello and Zendesk, and we use 3 branches, making our version each 2 weeks. So we develop everything on the dev branch. At the end of the process, we put up everything on the main branch, start debugging, starting testing everything. After that, we have a brand new version ready to go to our customers. Our current progress right now. Our team now has more time to focus on new features, projects, productive tasks. We are very dedicated now to improve our platform instead of doing the integrations again and again and again. Our code remains isolated for the complexity of the integrations. We have few customers that really use our template made on Web API. Sometimes they prefer to use the languages they are used to. The problem is this takes much time for them to create the integration. They usually put 1 or 2 developers on the project. It's good, but depends heavily on the skill of each developer. Sometimes we get lucky and they have good developers, they understand things fast. But sometimes we have people who are stuck on old technologies, old platforms. So we say things like REST, HTTP, and they get lost easily. And they have some bottlenecks about infrastructure, especially to handle multiple requests, because we need to pick up the price in real time, because price changes for each customer. And to do that, we need to pick up the price fast, because if we have lots of users on the website reading the catalog every time, requesting for prices, and if they don't have a good infrastructure to handle this, the site becomes to be very, very slow. This is one of our problems. We have lots of endpoints to implement too. It's another problem. So we try to avoid creating so much endpoints for them to develop, but sometimes we couldn't run for this. They need to implement everything. Sometimes they doesn't think really strong about the architecture of their platforms, their middleware implementation. So we have some problems during maintenance, because sometimes we release a new version of our template API, and they just get stuck to update their platform. We try to avoid to create breaking changes in the template, because we know it's hard for them to continue updating their platform, but sometimes we need to, and they suffer a lot because of this. Sometimes they have platforms that are so old that they doesn't even know how to handle JSON requests easily. So we have an example of one customer that doesn't have any kind of handling of JSON objects in their side. So they need to do this on hand. They need to parse all the string, and with this they have lots of errors too. They took a lot of time just to make simple requests like pricing system works. Some of the solutions that we can try to help them in this kind of situation, it's to make it easier to integrate. We try to improve our documentation every time and provide some tools to make the tests to see if everything is communicating well. We can offer other ways to communicate between the systems too, but right now our communication is strict to the generic integration API using HTTP verbs and JSON objects. We can cut off some features and rework the API, but it's not really on our roadmap right now. They are using as is, and the problems that they have is not so specific about the API, but about their own schedules, their own team, there are other projects that they need to handle simultaneously. We have developed some other useful tools using nopCommerce too. We have a remote control system. It's just a solution to easily deploy new versions of our platform to the teams. It's very easy to use. We include there every address of our customers, homologation environment and production environment too. And when we release a new version, we just select from a combo box the new version, click on send, and the version are applied there remotely. We didn't even need to enter on their machines and deploy it. We have a release note system inside nopCommerce. It's very simple. You just read a RSS feed from Google website remotely. And a sales sets model that it's been used by one customer now, but it's a feature that we are trying to sell more because usually distributors, their sales team, they need to put orders using their own ERP system or custom systems. And we think, why they need to do this? They have now a B2B platform. They can put the sales directly for our ERP system. So we create inside our B2B a module so they can enter there and search the customer, the reseller they are trying to make the sale. And they can customize everything. They can customize all the prices. They have new payment methods. They have new shipping method, new shipping rules. They can use our B2B platform to expand the functionality of their own ERP systems. So to wrap up everything, we use a common API as a middleware to make integrations and isolate all the complexity that we have. We have versioned the API to make things more easy to change in the future. We separate some modules, like the sales set module, as optional. So when you sell our platform to a new customer, they can choose if they will use the sales set module or other modules. And if they want to sell and use it later, they can just implement the optional API rules. We provide a direct channel to customers for support, so they can call us every time, and we try to resolve their problems fast. We provide the templates in code and also online documentation for them. Our roadmap now is to give emphasis on mobile devices. We try to create new tools to ease the daily work of resellers. We see that in that area of B2B, people doesn't think a lot about the resellers team, the people who are really using the platform. We are usually more focused on things that the distributor wants, but we try to do new functionalities to make the experience of the resellers more easy when they are navigating on the B2B platform. And in our roadmap, we need to upgrade to latest version of nopCommerce. But in the point that we are right now, it will be very difficult just to upgrade the platform. We are really thinking of creating a new version using the 4 version now of nopCommerce, but we need to do all the work again. But it's on our roadmap. We hope that we will follow this soon. So this is it. Have you any questions? Thank you. Any questions, something? Yes?
Data APIs, they're importing, exporting data, the objects. Did you define those just based on, I don't know if you mentioned it or just missed it?
What? Sorry.
The data objects,
Yes.
import, export, did you define those? Or
Yeah, we define everything. We have a custom library just with the DTO objects. So all the requests and responses are defined there. And our customers can download the template and use this specific library. It's more easy for them to upgrade later. But sometimes they don't use our template, so they need to manually go to the documentation and see every change that we make on each version. We try to do a log and for them to follow. We put everything documented well.
so, is there a plan to support some of the open standards for products? So you can integrate better with even bigger systems like the Oasis project, where they document actual product data and attributes. So we can work with bigger ERP systems, SAP and Oracle.
All the architecture that we defined is based on the nopCommerce model of products. So we aren't thinking specifically of ERPs because in Brazil we don't have a specific ERP more used for the distributors. Sometimes they have custom-made ERP systems. It's very hard to understand what kind of data are common from each other. So we use strictly the model of nopCommerce. We expose this. Okay. Yes?
Do you have any strategies on ensuring there's no duplicating data across the systems? Or like when data go out of sync between the ERP and like is there a guideline or is there strategies that you guys
We try to avoid duplicate data, so we try to create a few endpoints for our APIs. We try to avoid redundancy on things that they can do on both ways. The only thing that we have that works on both ways is the stock service, because sometimes they feed our platform with all the stock updates. They can do this on some hours that the website is not on heavily users, they are empty. Or we can just retrieve the new stock when a customer needs to make the order. We update it online to guarantee that they have a stock in there ready to use.
Is there a latency between that update?
What?
Is there a latency between updates?
The biggest problem that we have now with latency is with prices. There is no, about the stock, they can handle the way that they want. So some customers update all the stocks on 1 hour to 1 hour. Some of them just on down specific times. But we retrieve the stock live every time someone will make an order. So we didn't have any problem with this until now. The biggest bottleneck that we have now is the pricing system, because sometimes we try to give instructions for them to make a good architecture to provide the prices, but sometimes they doesn't remember to do this. So they implement a pricing system, and when we do the request, they took almost 5 seconds to response for one price. So you can imagine it's a big problem. Thank you. Yes?
What's the average size of your number of products for each customer?
Products.
How many items do they have in general for each of the sites?
It varies, but I believe sometimes 10,000 products for each distributor, something like that. It's not a so big catalog for them.
So when they have, say, 10,000, would all of the customers access all 10,000, or would some of them have access to only a subset of them?
It depends. We have now some business rules that some customers can see only a few range of prices. We have this kind of feature inside our platform now. Anyone? Okay. So thank you.